Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real simple. The greatest investment you will ever make in your entire life is the investment you make in yourself. Not the stock market, not the real estate, not the cars, not the clothes. You. Because when you upgrade who you are, everything around you upgrades with it. You can't expect $1 million life with a $100 mindset. You can't expect new results with the same old habits. And you surely can't expect your life to change if you're not willing to change yourself first. I've learned in my own life, every breakthrough I ever had came when I decided to pour into me. When I stopped waiting for circumstances to shift. When I stopped waiting for somebody to come save me or open the door for me. I decided I'd become the kind of person that didn't need the door opened. I'd build my own. And that starts with growth, with discipline, with pushing yourself even when nobody is watching, clapping, or believing. Investing in yourself is the most powerful way to change your life because personal growth transforms everything around you. And the truth is, most people never realize how much power they actually hold within themselves. When you decide to invest in who you are becoming, you start rewriting your future in real time. Everything begins with you, your mindset, your beliefs, your habits, your discipline, your willingness to grow beyond who you were yesterday. When you decide that you're worth the time, the effort, and the sacrifice, something inside you shifts. You start to understand that your life is not controlled by luck or chance. It's controlled by what you build within yourself. You start becoming a person who doesn't wait for things to happen, but creates the opportunities and the doors you once wished for. Personal growth is the foundation upon which every success story is built, because success never stops at the outside level. It begins internally. When you invest in yourself, you begin to see the world differently. You stop living on autopilot and start living with intention. You become aware of the thoughts you entertain, the conversations you allow, the habits you practice, and the environments you surround yourself with. You understand that if you want a higher quality life, you must first become a higher quality person. This doesn't mean being perfect. It means taking responsibility for your own growth. Instead of blaming circumstances or waiting for someone else to change, you choose to change yourself. That shift alone begins to alter the entire direction of your life. Personal investment sharpens your awareness, strengthens your discipline, and builds the inner confidence that you can handle bigger responsibilities and greater blessings. Growth is not just about learning new things, it's also about unlearning. You have to unlearn the beliefs that limit you, the fears that hold you back, and the habits that keep you stuck. When you invest in your own mind, you start to replace doubt with belief, confusion with clarity, and fear with courage. You begin building a version of yourself that has the strength to lead your life, not just react to it. You become more focused, more intentional, and more prepared for the opportunities that once passed you by. People who never invest in themselves often wonder why nothing changes. But people who do invest begin to notice that even small improvements create big shifts. The powerful thing about investing in yourself is that it compounds. Every book you read, every skill you learn, every new habit you adopt adds another layer of strength, wisdom, and capability to your character. Over time, you grow into someone who thinks bigger, speaks with more certainty, moves with more confidence, and takes action with more purpose. That version, better relationships, better opportunities, better results, and better outcomes. Life begins responding to the new standards you set for yourself. You start realizing that you're not just improving your life. You're elevating your entire identity. And as you grow, the world around you grows. Your family benefits from your discipline. Your career benefits from your dedication. Your mindset influences your decisions, and your decisions shape your success. When you invest in yourself, you change the energy you show up with, and that energy becomes a magnet for better experiences. You stop settling for less because you finally understand your worth. You stop chasing validation because you build self-respect. You stop waiting for miracles because you become your own breakthrough. Personal investment is not a luxury. It is the foundation of transformation. It's the key that unlocks the life you've been dreaming of, because the moment you improve yourself, everything around you begins to rise to match the new, stronger, wiser version of you. Your mindset is the foundation of your success. You must shift your thinking to shift your future, because everything in your life begins in your mind long before it ever shows up in your reality. Most people are trying to change their circumstances without changing their thoughts, and that's why nothing ever sticks. You can't build a new life on an old mindset. You can't expect growth while thinking in circles, and you can't move forward while holding on to beliefs that keep you tied to the same place. The moment you change how you think, you change how you feel. When you change how you feel, you change what you do. And when you change what you do, your entire life takes a different shape. Your thoughts are seeds, and whatever you plant is what grows. If you plant fear, you get hesitation. If you plant doubt, you get limitations. If you plant confidence and belief, you get progress and breakthroughs. That's why protecting your mindset is not optional. It is the first step to transforming who you are. Your mind is the command center of your life. It decides your attitude, your effort, your self-worth, and your direction. When your thinking is small, your life becomes small. When your thinking expands, your life expands. But this shift doesn't happen accidentally. You must intentionally feed your mind with thoughts that support your future, not sabotage it. Many people lose before they start because they convince themselves they're not enough, or it's too late, or they might fail. They don't understand that failure is only final if you allow it to define you. A stronger mindset embraces the idea that every setback is a setup for growth, that every challenge builds resilience, and that every difficulty is shaping you into someone more powerful than before. A healthier mindset doesn't avoid challenges. It interprets them differently. Instead of thinking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin to think, "What is this teaching me?" That shift alone can change the entire trajectory of your life. Mindset is also shaped by what you listen to, who you talk to, and the environments you allow yourself to stay in. If you surround yourself with negativity, you will think negatively. If you surround yourself with people who dream small, complain often, and expect nothing from themselves, your own mindset will shrink to fit that environment. But when you surround yourself with ambition, positivity, growth, and people who expect more from life, your mind expands to match theirs. Your environment either strengthens your mindset or weakens it. That's why some people grow faster, not because they are better, but because they put themselves in spaces where growth is expected, not optional. When you choose to feed your mind things that elevate you, books, mentors, I'm not talking for conversations, you start building mental muscles that make you capable of handling bigger dreams and bigger responsibilities. A powerful mindset also requires discipline. You must train your mind the same way you train your body. You choose what thoughts to entertain and which ones to dismiss. You learn to redirect your focus when negativity shows up. You develop the ability to stay calm under pressure, to stay focused when distracted, and to stay committed when things get hard. The stronger your mindset becomes, the less life can shake you. You stop overreacting, you stop giving up easily, and you stop settling for less than what you deserve. You begin to operate from clarity instead of confusion, confidence instead of insecurity, and purpose instead of fear. And as your mindset grows, your future expands. Suddenly, opportunities that once seemed out of reach no longer intimidate you. You begin to see possibilities where you once saw problems. You feel worthy of the goals you've set instead of doubting whether you deserve them. You start speaking differently, acting differently, and showing up differently. Your life starts elevating because your mind is finally aligned with the direction you want to go. Changing your mindset is not just a mental shift. It is the foundation of every breakthrough, blessing, success, and transformation you will ever experience. Separation, discipline, and sacrifice are necessary to rise above old habits, environments, and limitations, because growth never happens inside the same comfort zone that created your struggles. Most people want a different life, but they don't want to release the things that are keeping them in the same place. They hold on to familiar routines, familiar people, familiar distractions, and then wonder why nothing changes. The truth is, elevation requires separation. You cannot take everybody with you. You cannot hold on to every habit you've developed. You cannot keep entertaining the same conversations that drain you, the same patterns that waste your time, or the same behaviors that block your progress. When you choose to grow, you automatically choose to let go of whatever does not match the person you're trying to become. And yes, that separation can feel lonely at first, but that loneliness is not a punishment. It is preparation. It's clearing the space for the stronger, wiser, more focused version of you to emerge. Discipline becomes the engine that drives this transformation. Without discipline, dreams stay dreams, ideas stay ideas, and potential stays potential. Discipline is the ability to show up even when motivation is gone. It's the commitment to do what's necessary, not what's convenient. It's choosing long-term reward over short-term comfort. And that's where most people struggle. They want results, but don't want the routine that produces those results. They want success, but not the sacrifice. They want to be strong, but avoid the challenges that build strength. Discipline forces you to confront your excuses, your procrastination, your habits, and your fears. It teaches you that greatness is not built on big moments, but on consistent actions repeated day after day, even when nobody sees you. Discipline is the difference between wishing for change and working for change. Sacrifice is the price you pay for the life you want. Every level of growth demands that you leave something behind. Old friends, old habits, old fears, old patterns of thinking. You cannot grow and stay the same at the same time. You might have to sacrifice comfort, entertainment, late nights, laziness, or even relationships that no longer align with your purpose. And while sacrifice feels heavy in the moment, it becomes the doorway to opportunities, clarity, and progress. The things you give up are nothing compared to the life you're building. Sacrifice teaches you to value your time, your energy, and your potential. It teaches you that you are capable of more than you believed. It builds a sense of inner discipline and pride that no shortcut could ever give you. When you begin separating yourself from anything that limits you, you start noticing how much lighter you feel. When you practice discipline, you start seeing results that inspire you to keep going. When you sacrifice the things that drain you, you create room for things that grow you. This process isn't easy, but it's necessary. Growth has a cost, and staying the same also has a cost. One keeps you stuck, the other sets you free. The moment you realize that your future depends on the choices you make today, you stop treating discipline like a burden and start treating it like a gift. You recognize that every sacrifice is simply an investment in a better life. You understand that separation is not about losing people. It's about finding yourself. And slowly, you begin noticing the transformation. Your mindset sharpens. Your confidence grows. Your environment changes. Your standards rise. You discover that the version of you that you've been dreaming of isn't created overnight. It's created through decisions that require courage, consistency, and commitment. Separation, discipline, and sacrifice shape you into someone who is ready for the life you deserve, not just the life you've settled for. When you embrace these three elements, you don't just change your circumstances, you change your identity, your future, and your entire direction in life. Building skills, knowledge, and character creates opportunities and increases your value in the world, because the more you grow within yourself, the more life begins to trust you with bigger responsibilities and greater blessings. Too many people wait for chances instead of preparing for them. They hope for opportunities without developing the ability to handle them. But life doesn't give you what you wish for. It gives you what you're prepared for. Every skill you build becomes a tool that opens doors. Every piece of knowledge you gain becomes a light that guides your decisions. Every bit of character you develop becomes the strength that keeps you grounded when success arrives. When you invest in becoming better, more capable, more disciplined, and more knowledgeable, you naturally become someone who can deliver value, solve problems, and make an impact. And that's what the world rewards. Skills are the bridges between where you are and where you want to be. Learning a new skill is like adding another gear to your life. It expands your capabilities and increases your confidence. When you know more, you can do more. When you can do more, you can earn more, influence more, and contribute more. Skills give you freedom. They give you options. They give you leverage. The more skilled you become, the less you depend on luck, favoritism, or circumstances. You become capable of creating your own path instead of waiting for someone else to build it for you. Whether it's communication, leadership, creativity, problem solving, or technical abilities, every skill you sharpen lifts you to a higher level of opportunity. Knowledge works the same way. When you learn, you expand your mind. You begin to understand life differently. You start noticing patterns, recognizing opportunities, avoiding mistakes, and making smarter decisions. Knowledge builds wisdom, and wisdom builds stability. A knowledgeable person can navigate challenges with calmness and clarity because they understand the bigger picture. They know how to adapt. They know how to grow. They know how to turn setbacks into strategies. Knowledge doesn't just change what you think. It changes how you think. And the way you think determines the direction of your future. But skills and knowledge alone are not enough. Character is what sustains you when challenges come. Character is your integrity, your attitude, your work ethic, your honesty, your ability to stay committed, and your willingness to do the right thing, even when no one is watching. Talent might get you noticed, but character is what keeps you respected. Skills might open doors, but character is what keeps those doors open. When you have strong character, people trust you, they respect you, they want to work with you, support you, and recommend you. Character is the invisible currency that builds long-term success. Every time you work on yourself, every time you read, practice, learn, or push yourself beyond your comfort zone, you increase your value as a person. You become someone who can solve problems instead of creating them. You become someone who can inspire others instead of dragging them down. You become someone who contributes to the world instead of just taking from it. And the world responds to value. Opportunities begin showing up, not because of luck, but because you've bit yourself into someone who attracts them naturally. People begin noticing your growth. Doors that were once closed begin to open. Challenges that once overwhelmed you become stepping stones. You start realizing that your life expands in direct proportion to how much you expand. The more you invest in your own skills, knowledge, and character, the more control you gain over your future. You stop being limited by what you don't know and start being empowered by what you've learned. You start depending on others to save you and start depending on your own growth to elevate you. And as you become more valuable, life begins to reward you in ways you never imagined because you've become someone who is ready, deserving, capable, and prepared for every blessing coming your way. Responsibility and commitment are more important than perfection. Progress comes from consistent effort because real transformation is built on steady, intentional action, not flawless execution. Too many people wait for the perfect moment to start working on their dreams, not realizing that perfection is the biggest trap holding them back. Perfection creates pressure. Pressure creates fear. And fear creates hesitation. When you hesitate, you lose time, you lose opportunities, and you lose momentum. But when you choose responsibility, when you decide that your growth is your job and no one else's, you take back control of your life. Responsibility means owning your decisions, your habits, your actions, and your outcomes. It means understanding that your future is shaped not by what you plan to do, but by what you consistently do. And commitment is the fuel that keeps you moving even when motivation fades. People who focus on perfection never start, or they start and then quit the moment things get uncomfortable. But people who focus on commitment understand that growth is messy, unpredictable, and imperfect. They know mistakes will happen, setbacks will come, and challenges will show up uninvited, but they don't give up. They adjust. They learn. They keep going. Commitment is the ability to stay loyal to your goals long after the excitement you had in the beginning disappears. It's waking up on the days you don't feel like it and choosing discipline over comfort. It's saying, I made a promise to myself and I'm keeping it, even when nobody is watching. A committed person becomes unstoppable because they don't rely on mood. They rely on purpose. Responsibility strengthens your character. It turns you into a person who doesn't blame, complain, or make excuses. When you take responsibility, you stop pointing fingers at your environment, your circumstances, your past, or other people. You look at what you can control: your effort, your attitude, your focus, your habits, and your decisions. That shift alone can change the entire direction of your life. When you say, if it is to be, it's up to me, you step into a level of personal power that few people ever reach. You stop being a passenger in your life and become the driver. And once you take the wheel, you realize you can steer your life anywhere you choose to go. Progress is born from small, consistent steps repeated over time, not giant leaps, not sudden miracles. The person who grows a little every day will always accomplish more than the person who waits for the perfect plan. Consistency compounds. A tiny effort mainly becomes a major transformation over months and years. The problem is most people underestimate small steps because they don't see immediate results. But a seed doesn't turn into a tree overnight. A muscle doesn't grow after one workout. A skill doesn't master itself after one practice. Everything meaningful in life requires consistent effort, and that effort adds up even when it's invisible at first. Commitment and responsibility also build resilience. When you show up every day, even when you don't see progress, you develop mental toughness. You train your mind to push through frustration, doubt, and fatigue. You learn to trust the process rather than chase instant gratification. And the stronger your resilience becomes, the easier it is to keep moving forward. The people who succeed are rarely the smartest or the most talented. They are the ones who refuse to quit. They're the ones who say, I don't need to be perfect, I just need to be consistent. Over time, responsibility and commitment shape you into someone reliable, disciplined, and focused. Someone who finishes what they start. Someone who grows even on difficult days. Someone who keeps their promises to themselves. And when you consistently keep showing up, life rewards you in ways that perfection never could. Progress belongs to the committed, not the perfect. And the moment you embrace responsibility and steady effort, you become unstoppable. Not because everything is easy, but because you refuse to stop showing up for the life you want. When you upgrade yourself, your life, relationships, finances, and confidence begin to elevate automatically because everything you experience on the outside is a reflection of who you are becoming on the inside. Most people try to change their circumstances without changing themselves, but life doesn't work like that. Your outer world mirrors your inner growth. When you become wiser, your decisions improve. When you become disciplined, your habits improve. When you become confident, your opportunities improve. You don't chase a better life. You attract it by becoming a better version of yourself. The moment you start building your inner strength, your focus, your patience, and your character, the world begins to respond differently. You stop seeing obstacles the same way. You stop accepting things that drain you. You stop settling for less in what you know you deserve. Healing yourself, improving yourself, and strengthening yourself creates a ripple effect in every area of your life. As you grow internally, you start showing up differently. You communicate with more clarity, you set boundaries with more confidence, and you make decisions with more purpose. This naturally changes the relationships around you. People who are good for your growth get closer, while people who hold you back fall away. You begin to attract higher quality connections because your energy has elevated. You no longer tolerate disrespect, inconsistency, or negativity. Instead, you surround yourself with people who push you, inspire you, and align with your future. Growth makes you more aware of what you deserve. And once you see your own value, you stop accepting anything that doesn't match it. Your relationships evolve because you evolve. Your finances also reflect your personal development. When you elevate your skills, your mindset, and your discipline, you naturally create more opportunities to earn. You make smarter decisions with your money. You use your time more wisely. You pursue better opportunities because you believe you're capable of handling them. You begin thinking long-term instead of short-term. You learn to save, invest, and build rather than spend impulsively. A growing person becomes more valuable in the marketplace, not because of luck, but because of preparation. As you elevate your mindset, you start seeking solutions instead of problems, action instead of excuses, and progress instead of comfort. These choices directly influence your financial growth. Confidence also grows when you upgrade yourself. Confidence is not about pretending or acting strong. It's about becoming strong. Real confidence comes from competence, from knowing you've put in the work, developed the discipline, and invested in your growth. When you improve yourself, you start trusting yourself more. You stop second-guessing your abilities. You stop living in fear of what could go wrong. Instead, you stop believing what could go right. Confidence becomes your foundation, helping you walk into new opportunities without being intimidated and face new challenges without giving up. And as you continue improving yourself, your entire life begins aligning with your upgraded standards. Your habits change because you refuse to go back to old routines that wasted your potential. Your decisions change because you now think from a place of wisdom instead of insecurity. Your goals become bigger because you finally believe you're capable of achieving them. You carry yourself with more purpose, more gratitude, and more strength. This internal transformation creates external rewards that often surprise you. Suddenly, doors that were once closed begin to open. People who never noticed you begin paying attention. Opportunities that once seemed impossible begin appearing in your path. The truth is, life doesn't get better by accident. Life gets better when you get better. The world rewards growth. The universe responds to effort. Blessings follow development. When you invest in becoming the best version of yourself, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and professionally, your reality rises to match that level. Your life elevates because you elevate. Everything connected to you becomes stronger, wiser, and more aligned because you become the kind of person who attracts and sustains growth. The greatest transformation you will ever experience begins within you. And once that shift happens, your life can never stay the same again.